Welcome to SWK 899. This is the MSW capstone course. For most of you, it will be the final course that you take in the spring semester. This screencast is an introduction to the decision cases. Welcome to SWK 899. The MSW capstone course. For most of you, this will be one of the last courses that you take here at the Salem State University MSW program. This screencast is an introduction to decision cases and the case method of learning. This is Yvonne Ruiz, and welcome to this screencast. Firstly, these cases are based on real-life cases. So they are real-life opportunities to practice decision-making in social work practice. These cases are based on actual practice situations, and they each have a dilemma or some aspects of the case that troubled the social workers who experienced them and who reported them. In some cases, the social worker collaborated with another author to document the case and to present the case for social work practice. The social workers in the cases were uncertain about how to understand the situation. They were uncertain about how to respond to the situation. And they may have been in conflict or identified an ethical dilemma on how to proceed. So in sum, these cases present messy, ambiguous, problematic situations. And this is designed to invite your professional thinking, your assessment, intervention, and evaluation skills, and is an opportunity for you to put the case together in a way that you use your analysis and critical thinking skills. All of the cases that we're using in this course, whether they are included in the textbook that's required, or whether they're additional cases that have been written specifically for this course, all of the cases have been developed specifically for teaching purposes. So the specific situations that are presented mirror what you might actually encounter in professional practice. So the problems, the dilemmas that you will read about in the cases are located at any level of practice, micro, meso, and macro. And the client system may include the supervisor, the supervisee, might be the whole program or the organization, maybe the community, as well as the individual, a family, peer groups, and other groups that you might encounter in direct practice. So these cases are designed to promote analysis, to identify multiple options and multiple possible courses of action. You might make several decisions on how to proceed and what the likely consequences of each option for proceeding will be. The cases are designed to elicit multiple perspectives, and in many cases, you'll have more questions than answers. So let's define a decision case. And the definition of a decision case is a description of an actual situation commonly involving a decision, challenge, a problem, an opportunity, or issue faced by one person or persons in an organization. So that's a formal definition. So part of what you're required to do is to formulate the problem, what's happening in this case, and to decide on potential courses of action. The case method of learning is based on class discussion of detailed, open-ended accounts of actual practice situations. So the in-depth case analysis is designed to provide ways of thinking about the case, to identify options and possible courses of problem solving. But mostly, the real value in the course is the class discussion and the engagement of looking at the case from different perspectives, identifying what is important, what's a priority, and what may not be relevant to consider in making your decisions. So students are to draw upon critical thinking. They're also to draw upon all aspects of the curriculum: theory, practice skills, policy, human diversity, research, values, and ethics. So each case presents challenges, and these challenges are commonly encountered in social work practice. The cases may bring up similarities to what you've encountered working with clients, working with families or groups, and also working with your supervisor and or colleagues. So one of the things you need to do in each case is think about how do you balance the client needs and the organizational needs. How do you balance information from the client and what your supervisor may be telling you to do? How do you resolve contradictory policy requirements? The in-depth case analysis format requires an integration of policy. You'll need to make decisions with the information that is in the case. In many cases, you will feel that the information is incomplete or that there are too many questions that are left unanswered. However, this mirrors our work with clients. We never know everything. We always have questions. And with each meeting with the client, at whatever level, micro, meso, and macro, we have more pieces of the puzzle. So you need to think about how do you make sense of each case. You need to identify the appropriate limits of professional intervention. What is your professional task or role? How can you work within that role to provide the best services for the client? There may be some ethical dilemmas involved. You need to anticipate not only what are the advantages and disadvantages of the options that you choose, but also anticipate what may be some unintended consequences of the decisions you're making. Even when a decision seems clear-cut, you need to think about what could possibly happen after this decision is made. What might come up that was not intended or that may actually be detrimental in the case? So again, you need to resolve ethical and value-based dilemmas. These are all common challenges that we deal with on a daily basis as social workers working in human service organizations. So by analyzing and discussing the cases, you will clarify, you and the class together, as well as the instructor, all of us together will clarify the fundamental importance of framing the problem or of coming to a problem formulation. One of the things you're required to do in your in-depth case analysis is to bring some structure, to make some sense of a complex situation that may be multifaceted and that may be looked at in different ways. So you need to bring structure to what's happening in order to then resolve the dilemma. After identifying and formulating the problem, you must then decide what to do. There may be many choices for identifying problems as well as interventions, but you decide what is most relevant, what is the best option to help resolve the dilemma that's happening in this case, and you look at it from multiple angles. So all of the cases are very detailed. There's a lot going on in the cases. There are a variety of people and organizations and situations and populations and problems and issues and context that's going on in each case. Some of what's included in the cases may be extraneous and may not be relevant, and in fact may even be potentially distracting from what is really important in the case. So one of the things you're required to do is to sort through all the data that's presented in the case. Just as you do in actual practice, when you're doing your assessment and you're gathering all of the information, you need to sift through it. You need to use your best judgment and decide what's really important here. What do I have to work with? Each case does not clearly identify a specific theory or a specific intervention or a specific policy or research method. That is the work you're going to do. You're going to put all of those pieces together from your perspective, based on how you're analyzing and using your critical thinking skills to make sense of what's happening. So you're going to be required to supply theories for understanding the cases and to identify interventions that might be helpful. In so doing, your decision-making is to draw upon all of the areas of the curriculum that you have learned in the MSW program, both academically in the classroom and from field education. So these decision cases have been specifically designed to help students develop knowledge, skills, and values. It will help you to identify, frame, or find a problem. It will help you to consider the problem from multiple perspectives. It will help you provide solutions for the problems you've identified, and to consider the consequences and ethical ramifications of the choices and options and strategies that you identify. Classroom discussions are based on the Socratic method. This means that it's based on cooperative dialogue between all of the class members, between individuals asking and answering questions, and comments, questions, feedback that stimulate critical thinking and that draw out underlying assumptions and presumptions. And students may not even know their own presumptions or assumptions until we have discussions that really dig deep into what's happening, into large group discussion, smaller group discussion, dyads and triads. So students prepare for this Socratic method by closely reading the cases. This means that everyone needs to read all the cases and be prepared to discuss the case, participate by including your perspectives, what comes up for you, what connections do you make to the content from the MSW program, from your field placements, and from your lived experiences. You are to listen deeply and actively to your classmates, ask questions, and this is most important, have an open mind to consider multiple perspectives. Critically thinking about not only your opinions, but those of your classmates and peers. So the Socratic method encourages listening, thinking, reading, speaking, and being open to all perspectives. So in sum, how to succeed in this method? You must arrive to class prepared to share, to listen, and to reflect upon each case and the content that's being discussed. Thank you for listening so far, and I look forward to seeing you in class.